Yeah, basically, I just saw your post today, and I know how you obviously did the plunge recently to kind of starting your own business, after doing different sales roles. Basically, I left my job at Spender with an AE because I never wanted the AE role in the first place, but I guess I took it because I saw it as the only way to progress. Um, and I took a step back, and I joined the startup basically going back, almost a step back, or what a lot of others would think of a step back as being like the first BDR bet with a long-term goal of like being like a head of sales development. Um, but obviously the stage I'm at, that's quite a long goal. And I was just really keen to kind of, I guess, get some insight as to how, I guess how you'd set goals, kind of stay motivated on like a long path and, kind of a discipline when it comes to that. And, um, really just how you avoid getting distracted and demotivated from like, your overall goal you're looking to achieve. That's quite broad, but just got me thinking when you posted. That's something I've been thinking about for a while.
Well, tell me a bit more about your story, Callum, because I read the note that you wrote where you said that you had burned out and you went traveling. So I'd like to hear more about your story and then the vision that you have now that you've seemingly got on your 2 feet.
Yeah, for sure. So I started at Spender as my first role in SaaS sales, and I became kind of eventually like really good at doing kind of outbound in the BD, and
Can
there
you
was
still hear me okay?
yeah, I can still hear you good. Um, Basically, it became to the point where in order to progress, I took a role which I knew I wouldn't enjoy, but I saw it, I guess, being my only route. I think often like the AE route is promoted being you have to do it almost if you want to progress. And I did it, and um, after 6 months or something, I just was coming into work every day and not wanting to be there. Really, my performance went down. I lost track of really what I wanted to achieve, and I just got to the point where my stress was through the roof, and I hated going to work, to be honest. So I took time out basically to go traveling, which is when I thought, what am I actually going to enjoy doing? Even if it's a step back in terms of maybe a role, I really wanted to have autonomy and build something. Um, and I think that's when I thought about going back as like a BDR and progressing into, I really like sort of sales development and training others and everything like that. That's something I got to do little of when I became an AE. Just really hate my job, to be honest. And so that's when I kind of, joined tactics fairly recently. And I think, again, it's going to be like a long stage, but I think it's the right path. It's a longer path, if that makes sense.
Got it. Got it. You got a fascinating story, Callum. And first of all, kudos to you for being able to find a way out of what sounded like a really tough time in your life.
Yeah.
I just want to revisit your question to make sure I can answer it as intentfully as possible. You
Yeah.
want some advice around how to ultimately stay on track and be motivated and disciplined, especially when you have big visions and big goals for your life. Is that about right, or have I missed anything there?
No, I think that's right. It's really just, going from, it's my first week, going from week one to 100 weeks down the line and keeping that same drive. Obviously, there's tough times all the time, but making sure I'm not thrown off, making sure I'm not distracted. And I think just almost making sure that I'm putting in place for myself the right steps to actually get where I want to go to.
It makes sense for sure. So, a few things to think about, Callum, and to consider. The first is that for as much as you can in your life, create systems and standards of excellence. Now, why is that important? Because you are going to, we're always at risk of, let's call it decision fatigue, waking up and thinking about what do we need to do? Why do we need to do it? When do we need to do it? And you want to go through as much as of your life as possible and systemize and create routines and operating principles so that you have this big vision, but you've already created a set of systems and principles and standards, which make sure that you take intentional steps forward towards it every
Yeah.
single day. what you want to avoid is waking up and having to figure things out. So that's like the baseline of being able to sustain over an extended period of time. The other aspect to it is, I talk a lot about the premise of discipline over motivation, and that becomes increasingly important when you have a big vision for your life. Because the reality is that, you've experienced burnout before. I experienced burnout before 7 years ago and never have again since. And part of that is acceptance that there will be days that you wake up and you just don't quite feel up to it, right?
Yeah.
I look at today, as I put that post out. I mean, I had 20 calls, but within like the first 30 minutes, I've had to try them down, and I've got another 18 today, right? And so do I sit here and feel like I'm excessively energized to do every single one of those? No. But am I going to get them done and put the same pace and velocity and energy into every single one? Absolutely, because that's what I'm committed to doing. And so it's the same thing with everything that you look at in your life. Some days you are not going to feel up to it. With the greatest of respect, it doesn't matter. You've got to get it done. And I'm not trying to push you in a way that means that, if you're ill or you're sick or you can't do something, obviously you can't.
Yeah.
If you've built the right operating rhythm for yourself, you'll be okay, So I'll pause there. I hope that's helpful initially.
Yeah, no, very helpful. I think that's something I've maybe struggled with in the past, is holding myself. I've often held myself to like the expectations of others, kind of not of my own standards, if you know what I mean. So I think it's kind of defining, I guess, what I find myself to be, excellent each day. I'm working on that, just whether that's, short-term goals or something. No, that definitely makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Callum, you've got to decide, who do you want to be in the world, right? Who do you want to be in this life? And, if you decide to live your life based on standards and expectations of others, you've got to accept that, the mass majority of people in the world are not, let's say, successful by conventional definitions of successful. That doesn't mean they're not successful in their own right and in their own lives, right? There's different ways to define success, but if for you that involves certain financial goals and it involves certain lifestyle goals, then our job is not to follow the masses. In many cases, your job is actually to carve out a path so that other people start to look to you as the standard, not for you to look at your necessarily the people in your life now as the standard. So the more you can continue to get yourself around people that are pushing you, holding you accountable, encouraging you to raise the bar, the better your life will continue to become. And you'll start to find that other people in your life will actually start to raise their level of expectation based on what they see from you. But you may be in an environment right now, Callum, where you need to be the standard, right? So if that's the case, then grab that with two hands and get after it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think just like that's kind of given me a bit of, like, for instance, one of the things where I wanted to set like a goal was I want to be I've got this idea I've had for ages in terms of like maybe one day having like some sort of SDR business or something, but in the short term, kind of building my own brand up on LinkedIn and, posting kind of tips and, getting into a cadence of posting regularly because it's something I enjoy, but it's something I've been put off by doing because of maybe others' perception or something, like 5,000 people thinking, why this guy posting all the time, but I think, like you say, it's holding myself to and what I see as the goal of that, forgetting what all these other people may or may not think, it's probably just going to hold me back.
Absolutely, Callum. I mean, look, continue to network and build your circle. Honestly, it's one of the biggest changes you can make in your life. And doesn't mean you let go of everyone from your past, but you've got to have different people playing different roles in your life. I remember the day when, the thought of earning £50,000 a year was a dream to me. And then I got around earning 100,000. Then I was like, wow. And now, I'm around people that, I've got neighbors that earn millions per month, right?
Yeah.
So the expectation of what, I could go on to do and achieve is it's got to evolve, right? And it's got to change. So the more, if you're in a situation where you've got people that are either questioning or diminishing your flame, please park that to the side. Believe in you. Believe in Callum.
Yeah.
You've got all the talent, all the potential, I'm very sure. The fact that you're on this call right now says a lot about your mentality. Don't let anyone dim that flame. If you want to go and build the best SDR business that, the country or the world's ever known, then you got to go and do that, right? But the only person that defines that is you. Anyone that slows you down, you've got to say, look, I appreciate you in my life, but I'm here to do something bigger, and you got to get after
it. That's really it's just sometimes good to have that from an objective perspective. Someone who doesn't necessarily know you, I guess, validate that, but also just, push it. So that's giving me a bit of a boost. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Callum, get it done. Please keep me updated. Yeah. I'd love to know when you got a multi-7-figure SDR.
Sure.
I'm really glad we spoke, and keep in touch.
For sure. Thanks so much, Alex. If you need any feedback at any point on doing this, just drop me a line, and I'm more than happy to do it. So yeah, thanks very much.
Appreciate you, Callum. Have a great Saturday.
Thanks, man. And you. Take care. Bye-bye.